Hello everybody, welcome back to another Stacey West preview. This time it's Swindon Town away on Tuesday night following our draw with Accrington on Saturday. Very fortunate to be joined by Ben Nicholls, the Swindon Town supporter. Evening Ben, how you doing mate?
Evening, I'm good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, very good mate, thank you. So if we just want to delve right into the football, obviously Swindon, a team that have got promoted last season through the automatic places in League Two. How was last season first and foremost? Because we've had a recent promotion season. Did you enjoy it even though we got curtailed a little bit early?
Yeah, disappointed about the end a little bit because we were sort of we sort of like denied our little promotion run-in and promotion party at the end. Pretty certain we would have got there anyway. I think we had one team left in the top 10 in our last 10 games, and we've been top for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been some pretty big shed claps to throw it away. But the season itself was brilliant. Owen Doyle, 25 goals in 28 games. Brilliant. I think the football we played was free-flowing. It was attacking. It was as unexpected to be as good as it was. I thought we'd be in around the playoffs because there'd been steady progression under Wellens. But just to dominate throughout the season, great. Much like you did, actually, the season you went up with. It was just great. Going to games expecting to win and score goals.
Yeah. So how have you found the step up into League One? Obviously, you must have been disappointed to not keep Owen Doyle and Jerry Yates the season after they had.
Well, the Doyle thing is he still lives in Liverpool with his family. He's got 3 young boys. He's 32 years old. Bolton came along. It's about an hour and a half drive from Bolton. It's about 3.5 hour drive from Swindon. And they offered him a 3-year deal. He's 32 years old and you get offered a 3-year deal against one of your teammates who's boss. You're not going to turn that down, even if it is step down the league. So he's got good money. We couldn't compete with the money that Bolton had at the time because they'd just been in a lot better financial position than they were. And it was just before the whole salary cap, so they could offer what they wanted. So he left, which is sad. It is. We've been hit hard with the coronavirus and the effects of it. We spent a lot of money in January, on the expectation of selling, 12, 13,000 tickets for remaining games of the season for the promotion running. And we didn't do that, obviously, because 5 games to go or 5 home games left, the season got pulled. So that's a lot of money. The club just banked on they were going to get in, just didn't have. And then there's the current ownership debacle that's going on in the minute through the courts, which means the budget has pretty much been halved from last season. Wellens' hands, even though he started in pre-season pretty positively, we have the nucleus of a good side to even push for a decent season next season. Who knows, maybe an outside chance of top 6. But Boris came in and said, no fans until April. And I think the budget pretty much got pulled. Wellens became quite frustrated and he ended up going. The squad has got nucleus is quite good, but it's just small. And we've got a lot of injuries, and we've had a lot of injuries from the off. And we struggled for consistency, and we concede a lot of goals. So we are where we are.
How have you found the step up then? Because obviously, teams transitioning to League Two to League One tend to do quite well. You see. We had quite a good season the first year in, but Northampton, you see, are struggling this year. How have Swindon coped to the level?
Yeah, you look at how Crewe have done and the Plymouth Gun, and we were better than both those teams last season. But it's just financially the rug's been taken from us, and we've lost key players like Jerry Yates and Owen Doyle scored 40 goals between them, and that's in 36 games. That's a lot of goals. Jerry Yates was quite happy to come back to Swindon. He said in the next interview, Rotherham, he was expected to join Swindon, but the money wasn't there. Blackpool came in and had him. We've lost some good key players from last summer. We've kept a few, but as I say, the majority of them has been injured most of the summer and most of the season, so they're only just starting to come back now. But it's been a struggle. but for that, it's hard. That there is a big step up, from you've got teams like Ipswich, you've got teams like Sunderland, big name teams, and you're leaving teams like Morecambe. It's a step up. It's a big step up from like these big, Stadium of Light. 1 week from the Globe Stadium, Morecambe. There is a big step up, but we've not coped with it as best as we should have. And even with the squad that we've got, we should have done better. But it's been a frustrating start.
I think there's something like 9 ex-Premier League teams in League One this year. It sort of shows how strong it is. Obviously, Swindon being one of the dare I say, smaller clubs out of all of the teams in the division. Richie Wellens sort of alluded to it before the start of the season that he couldn't make the sort of signings that he wanted. I think in a press interview, he ended up leaving for Salford. He's a Manchester boy. I think he's now in the United Academy as well. John Sheridan comes in and replaces him after being Wigan manager. Just 2 weeks after he signed to that post. What was your thoughts about that whole sort of merry-go-round that happened?
Wellens was disappointing, though not surprising. I think he leaves the club with a bitter taste. He had legend status when he took us up, and at the start of the season, we can give him for a poor season because the budget was taken from him. He's half the budget that he had last season in League Two. But he left with just. Well, about a week before he left, he gave the hold, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not interested in any other position. It would be wrong of me to consider any other job than Swindon. Obvious links with Salford, but I'm not interested. Salford come in, Swindon turned down an offer, and then he asked to leave. So that's, you don't blame him, but the way he went about it, it's probably not the best way. The cold like that, he's just... There's more money for him at Salford. It's close to home. He's got the chance of a good season and bounce up another promotion under his belt. And at Swindon, if he stayed here, it's a season of struggle. The other side, if it goes wrong for Wellens, he could just end up a League Two manager if it goes badly for him. So there's a bit of a gamble, but obviously he's the closer to home and the Manchester United money sort of tempted him. But so that's probably that really. But with Sheridan, he's bought in short term. He's kept a lot of clubs up in his managerial spell. He doesn't stay long at clubs, but he does rescue job at clubs. If you look, he's done the same at Plymouth, Oldham twice, a couple of other clubs as well who have been pretty hopeless position. I think Fleetwood's another one where they're struggling to get by financially and with a small budget and not big squad, and he's kept them up.
Yeah.
And that's why he's here. The football won't be pretty. Bristol Rovers, which I'm sure we'll touch on in a bit, was different to what we're used to. I think he's just starting to implement his own way of just making yourself tough to beat. Not very pretty to watch, but at the end of the day, I don't care. In this next season, if we're still in League One with new owners, we get gates of 13,000 back again at the full county ground. I think we can really progress and grow, but we need to be in League One. So I don't care what we do, just stay up this season. I think we need to weather the storm, and then it gets better next season. I think that's what he's been in for, the short-term appointment.
Would it be fair to say that Sheridan doesn't quite know his best 11, which might sort of play into Lincoln's hands?
No. Oh, yeah. He only joined a week ago, so I wouldn't blame him, to be fair. He knows some of the back staff. He's worked with Tommy Wright before at Chesterfield. He knows the chairman, Lee Power. So you see why he's been brought in. He was in charge of Waterford before he went to Wigan, which is another one of Lee Power's clubs who he owns in Ireland. He's still finding his way. Like Saturday was the first game where we sort of changed the dynamic of the side, where the free-flowing high press football goal scoring game just put to one side a little bit, and it was a sort of like, right, we'll it's just be hard to break down. Let's just it may be a little bit more direct in places, but it just battle our way through, because it's against Bristol Rovers. It was a 6-pointer. Bristol Rovers weren't very good, if I'm honest, but I think Tisdale will improve them in time. And it was good 3 points. It was good. It's much needed win, and it just keeps their heads above water. So we just need to keep picking up points.
Obviously, you managed to beat Bristol Rovers at home, which is something that Lincoln failed to do this season. So we'll move swiftly past that. Obviously, you were quite inconsistent under Wellens, and then you started. You got the win on Saturday. How has the start of the season been? Because obviously, maybe it's a bit difficult stepping up into the league.
Yeah, well, we started. See, we were. I don't know where we are now, but before Saturday, we've scored as many goals as 4 of the top 7, or just as many goals. It's just we hadn't kept until Saturday. We hadn't kept a clean sheet all season, and that's where our problems have been all season. Scoring goals has not been the issue. I think we've had about 7-8 different goal scorers this season, but it's just been woeful at the back. It's just been terrible. The individual errors and the injuries haven't helped. We've not been able to play a settled team at all season. So that's what needed to be addressed. The start of the season, I think we had quite high hopes of doing quite well.
Yeah.
I think we got a dose of realism quite quickly. I think the fans now are quite they're quite realistic about us now. I think everyone would quite just take a sort of a lower half mid-table finish. I think we'd all be happy with that at the end of the day. I just sort of went and get the season done and get this signed off, and as I say, just start the season next to fresh fans back in and an actual budget where we can build a team.
I think a lot of comparisons can be made between your current season and our first season back at this level with a manager of hero status, leaving for pastures new, and finding their feet eventually in the division. But Lincoln and Swindon did do a bit of transfer business this summer. One player that just didn't seem to work under Michael Appleton, Jack Payne. Fantastic in the early part of the season last year. We thought he was going to be the guy to send us up, but not quite worked out. He's ended up at Swindon. How's he got onto life in Wiltshire?
Well, Jack Payne started because we all knew him for his spell at Oxford, who are our local rivals, and he's been one of our better players. Under Wellens, he played just behind the striker, number 10, free role, and it's just you just be creative, do your thing, do what you want. We'll give you the ball, find the pockets of space. And he works hard, and he was pretty consistent. He's done quite well to start the season. But I think he's definitely a man who needs to have the right system, and he needs the right manager to make work. Yeah. Because I have reservations. If Sheridan does say, right, we're going to come this long ball team, we're just going to make ourselves tough to beat, and we're going to play 4-4-2, I think he'll be. I don't think he'll fit in quite well. I think if we keep the 4-3-3, he sort of kind of works that, or if he works a 4-4-2 and he's still the number 10 or the free role behind, it fits him. He's been one of our better consistent performers. But I do think he's the kind of man that needs the right manager and the right formation. Yeah. And also confidence behind him as well. I think he's the man that sort of needs the fans on the side. I think he's a bit of a confidence player as well. I heard with you guys, he did start the season really well, and then it sort of tailed off. And in the end, you weren't that bothered whether he left or not.
No.
That was the sort of feeling or feedback we got from him towards the end. So so far, so good. But we'll see with him under Sheridan.
Yeah, I think partially because Appleton sort of shifted him out to the left-hand side in a system where it didn't really suit him. Probably one of the reasons that he left. He didn't seem to, not say I don't think he cared, but I don't think he was willing to put the application in that, say, a George Grant done since then. But you've alluded earlier to Swindon making quite a few mistakes, passing the ball around the back. Is that one way that Lincoln will be able to get at Swindon tomorrow night then?
Yeah. I think they're quite short confidence at the back. I think if Lincoln will look to press quite high up, I think if they get balls into the box, I think we've got a keeper who's short confidence, who his decision making is questionable. I think he's a young lad from Manchester United. Last year we had Stephen Bender, and we hit the jackpot with him. He's now playing for Swansea regularly.
Yeah.
And I think we tried to do the same again with this Kovar from Man United. who came with all this reputation of being, this young up and coming, and he's like a little mini De Gea and all that, and he's really good. But his shot stopping's good, but his decision making, he can fly out the box sometimes. He doesn't need to. He flaps at crosses. He nearly cost us late last week on Saturday. I think if you just stick quite a few balls under the box, I think if you stick us under pressure, I think the low confidence at the back, we could wobble. However, on Saturday was a marked improvement. For a start, we didn't throw one in for a start, which is the first time in weeks. Yeah. But so I'm hoping he's a good shot stopper and he'd got a bit of confidence, and I'm hoping you have a bit of an off day, if I'm quite honest.
Yeah, so just asking, what are your thoughts on Lincoln? Obviously, we made a really good start to the season, sat in the playoffs where a lot of our supporters would have taken stay up again. How it is. What have your thoughts been on Lincoln's start of the season?
You started really, really well. I thought at the start of the season, your budget was slashed. What I heard anyway, your budget was slashed, and I was thinking you might be one to struggle this year. But you've actually sort of gelled together and pulled through. I don't think you've got any specific weaknesses. I've not watched you yet this season, so I can't comment on how you've played or top performance or how you've done. But I think you're one of these teams that could be in the reckoning towards the end of the season. If you're hovering about, I think you'll be mid-table, top half, possibly, if things keep going. I think you've got a good manager. Yeah, though he is an Oxford hero, I don't like him for that. He's a good manager, so I think you're solid. I think you're solid, dependable. Sort of pretty much 7 out of 10 every week. You'll be all right this season.
I think Appleton alluded in his press conference that he was quite successful as well against Swindon during his time at Oxford. Would that be right?
Well, he didn't lose. No, he didn't lose. We drew one. But he's quite good. And he's also lost games against us for other clubs. But for Oxford, he's done all right. Right. But he's we know him for his Oxford days, and we don't like Oxford very much.
So if we just go on to the game tomorrow night, then how are you expecting Swindon to set up tactically, and then if I could just get a quick score prediction off you as well at the end?
I think we'll set up pretty much like the Rovers game. I think they are trying to build confidence and from the back. I think Sheridan's pointed out he's quite happy with us going forwards. I think he will score goals. I think we'll score less goals than just Sheridan because the setup, it's not so free flow. It's not so high press. It's not so, what I saw on Saturday, it wasn't so fluent. But they are, I think, one of our players that seems to get a lot of stick, a chap called Jonathan Grounds, I think every club that struggles has a boo boy, and he's actually suspended for the game against Lincoln. And I think that actually gives the fans a bit of a lift going to that one, because an old favourite comes back in, who's just come back from injury. Tom Broadbent will be back inside, and I think he's the right sort of defender to play against you lot. He's big, burly centre back. Towards him next to him will be Bowdry, who was our skipper last season. So that combination might bode well for us bode well again. So I think there'll be better understanding at the back. I think with most of our games, I don't think we've yet to perform consistently well for 90 minutes for our whole game. I think for 60 minutes we've done quite well and then let ourselves down for 30. I think Saturday will be a fillet. I think it will be a tense and tight game. I don't think you'll have it easy. Though if you said you'll get a point after Saturday's performance and who we got next week, I'd take it. So my prediction anyway is 1-1.
1-1.
I think 1-1. I think we'll take the lead and then you'll pull it back second half.
I think that's quite interesting. Obviously, given our record on the road this year has been quite good. I think we've not lost on the road so far this season. So I'm being an idiot. I might have been an idiot there. I don't know. Anyways, thank you very much, Ben, for coming on to Stacey West. I'm sure your social medias will be posted alongside this video. But thank you everybody else for watching. I'm sure there'll be another preview soon. And up the ends.